Hello, you're welcome to AJ Tutorials. I'm going to be studying or learning about the word computer. We've been hearing this word in our daily lives always. And have you ever asked yourself when the word computer was used and who first used the word computer? So within this tutorial, we are going to learn or tackle such things. So let's quickly go through our objectives. One, we have the root word. Two, we will tackle the meaning of the computer. And then three, we also be tackling some examples of computers. So let's start with the root word. Talking of a root word can be the basic word or any basic word at all with no prefix or suffix attached to it. Let's look at some examples so that at least we can get a gist of it. So we can get a root word like happy. That's a root word which is having meaning by itself. We cannot erase or delete any word at all from it for us to get any word. So we have what? Happy. That's a base word, whereby we can add some string of letters at the beginning. So adding string of letters at the beginning is what we call the prefix. So something like this: on attached to what happy, we are going to get what we call unhappy. And when we add some string of letters at the end of a root or a base word, that's whereby we are adding what a suffix to it. So we can get what happiness over here. When we add ness as a suffix to happy, we get happiness. Please, I know most of you, maybe someone will complain, why is y being changed to I? Yeah, grammatically sometimes when a word ending with y is being attached to any suffix at all, normally it is being changed to I. That's in most situational instances. Yeah, so that's about a root word. Let's continue from where we left. So talking about a root word of a computer, the word computer comes from the root word compute, which means to calculate. So we have the root word for computer, which is what? Compute. Can anybody guess what is going to be the string of letters being added to the word computer? And was it a prefix or a suffix? If there's any suggestion, okay, it can be. We have that's compute, so we can add what? ER to it. Others too can bring in what? R. You can suggest R, and you're not wrong. So that's going to be a suffix because it is being attached or added at the end of it. And therefore, so compute, which means to calculate, it came from a Latin word. Yeah, so it was this Latin word that was changed to an English. That's the modern English word compute. So the Latin word was computer, which also means to count or to reckon, which is similar to calculate. You know, counting is about calculation. Yeah, with calculation you are going to get an outcome. Counting, you are going to get an outcome. Yeah, a solution for that. Let's quickly move on to our next slide. And therefore, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, the first known use of the English word was used in 1613 in a book called The Young Man's Gleanings by this English writer. He was also a poet, Richard Braithwaite. That's Richard Braithwaite. He was the first man to use the word computer So we now know who first used the word computer, and we also know the year. That's when it was in 1613. Let's look at the image of this man. The image you see over is the picture of Richard Braithwaite. Yeah, born in the year 1588 and then died in 1673. Let's look at how did he use the word computer. Did he use it to classify machines as we see now, or what? Okay, this is what happened. In his book, the word computer he used was describing a human computers, not machine computers. There was a time that people used to employ humans to work in the field of what? Of calculating. That whereby even a machine itself at that time can't calculate or compute as fast enough as such human being. So that means these kind of human beings were super. So he used the word computer to classify such kind of human beings. So he did not even use it to classify machines, but therefore human computers. So that means they were very fast in terms of calculation. Now let's quickly dive on to the second objective, which is the meaning of a computer. Talking about the meaning of computer, we have vast definitions. So I suggested about 2 definitions which will help us. Let's start with the first one. So a computer is an electronic device which accepts data, processes data, and brings out meaningful information. Computer being an electronic device, thus it needs some sort of current, some sort of power in it before it can run, and this can be electric current. Someone can suggest, okay, I'm using a laptop. Yeah, you're using a laptop. A laptop is also having a battery, so the battery in it is the one containing the electric current, so therefore it is also an electronic device. Aside that, we also have a desktop computers which uses direct power sources. Yeah, that one too is an electronic device, so it uses what? Electric current, and therefore they accept data and processes the data. The data can be raw facts fed into the computer for processing. So the instructions that we tell the computer to do can be termed what? The data. With this data, it needs to be processed. The data need to be processed by a certain part of the computer, which is the central processing unit. So it processes whatever we do with the computer before it even displays it, but this is being done in some seconds. We will dive into all these later on. So let's quickly move on to the next definition. We can also say computer is a device for processing, storing, and displaying information. A computer can process, right? We now know processing. It can also store. Storing it for future use. The useful information that we like or we want, we can store them for future references. And also displaying of information. We are having several forms of outputs, whereby we'll tackle that later on. So a computer can be a device for processing, storing, and displaying information. So it can process data. We can insert our flash drive or pen drive into our system for it to play a music or a video. So the computer is going to process it first before it displays it in the video format, or in the audio format, or in the picture, for instance JPEG format. So that's the processing. It processes it and brings out meaningful information for us. Without the processing, the computer cannot bring us the feedback. So it need to process. It's like being asked a question in a classroom. You need to think before you answer. Even if you say you did not think, you already know the answer, whereby you have already processed it there. The same thing. Sometimes we can work some computation on a computer, whereby it will give you feedback quickly. Others, it need to slow down. With this, it can be dependent on your specs, that's the hardware component being used in the computer, or it can be that your computer processing speed is slow. Okay, let's look at some of the examples of computers. So talking about the examples of computers, we have several examples, but we talk about at least few. We have the desktop computer over there, whereby we have a set of that. We have the system with its monitor, the keyboard, and then the mouse. Yeah, you can also get your speaker attached to it and then print and those stuff. Yeah, or computer, since it can process, store, and bring out meaningful information. We also have the laptop, the netbook, the hybrid computer. We also have the tablet and the smartphone. Yes, they all process data, stores it, and then bring out meaningful information. The smartwatch, nowadays you have smart computers. A time will come, I don't know, yeah, maybe our shoe that we even put on is going to be a computer, which will somehow fly in the sky. Okay, wish that day to come. Okay, now see you later next time.